Hey guys, Nuke here, another episode of the Nuke Stream, and today we're going to be talking about the holiday romance rush, right? Cuffing season, whatever you want to call it, and what to expect with women that um, uh, during this time. Obviously, we're already neck deep into the holidays, and by now you should probably start seeing most of the stuff that's going to happen. So it's probably no surprise to anyone. But we're still going to discuss it in the name of truth and kind of like understanding how women work and operate and all that. So, crap, open the wrong window. So, the holiday romance rush, right? Women will fast track relationships during the holidays. Things that used to take, 4 weeks during the summer, like meeting friends and family and doing even something as simple as holding hands in public or something, or kissing in public, a public, PDA. Uh, it's fast tracked, right? Uh, it's it goes from taking weeks for that to happen to even days. And as a guy, there is a lot of guys that really think that, a relationship and the lovey-dovey stuff is truly what's going to make them happy until they face the reality that that was never what made them happy. It was just a fantasy. It's not real. You truly, once you meet a girl that you like and she's like pushing for a relationship faster than you're comfortable with and you're constantly have to pump the brakes, it can get pretty annoying pretty fast, right? So in these times, the holiday time of year, there is a good chance that women are going to want to go from being just a hookup to quickly wanting you to go to the pumpkin patch or go to a Christmas town with them, or meet family right away. And you may not feel comfortable with that level of pace when meeting women and all that stuff. Or maybe when you just don't like that much and she just chose you to be the matching pajamas in front of the Christmas tree, right, guy. So um yeah, we'll get into it. So emotions and societal pressures will influence relationship dynamics. So remember that when women like a guy, obviously there's genuine desire. Some women just don't care as long as they're with the guy, right? But when it comes to these times, women's the external pressures women face, like society, friends, family, their own emotions, seeing Christmas movies and all that stuff, have a say in how she goes about relationships, right? So if you're a woman and it's the end of the year and it's that time where things starting to get colder, her friends are starting to like flake on her to hang out with boyfriends or men they just met. So she's starting to start a little bit lonely, and she's gonna want that comfort, and she's gonna want to to make gingerbread houses and bake holiday cookies and all that stuff. And that's understandable. That's not evil or anything. It's just women shift gears. Um, so there's a lot of societal pressure there because of that. Because of the holidays. And you have to understand that women will respond to societal pressure just like anything else. And you have to be ready for it. So yeah. Um, the holidays can be a time of emotional vulnerability for people. Like it's the end of the year, so there's people kind of reflect a lot on the past, what went on during the year. Uh, a lot of people are forced to be around family and get reminded how shitty their family is, or how great their family is, or how much they miss their family, and they kind of recalibrate what's important to them Um, you may have been grinding or working hard all year, and then you finally go home, and then your mom makes you your favorite food, and you just remember, like, man, I really gotta like, settle down. Or hey, I don't like my family. I'm going to go do something else. Whatever is going on in your life situation, it's a period of reflection and reminders uh, of things that are important or not important to us. And same thing happens with women, right? Like women will have a hot girl summer and they'll party and all that stuff and travel, and then they get to the holidays and they realize like, hey, I never wanted to be a hoe, or I never wanted to be uh whatever. I really need to settle down because I really want someone. I want to bake cookies for a guy, or I want to um do Christmassy fun things. Like I want to bond with a man, right? And it spurs women to action when they see other women doing those things, the movies and all that. So yeah, there's a lot of emotional vulnerability during the holidays because people tend to have to face or get with family and friends, and for better or for worse, um, whether you have a great family or a shitty family, you kind of there's some emotions there, and those are going to spur you to reflect and think and all that. So um, societal norms as well. So societal norms around family gatherings. So you go to Thanksgiving and your mom asks you or your uncle or your aunt, "Hey, so are you have a boyfriend? When are you getting married? When's the baby coming?" Whatever. Now, girls respond more negatively to this. They don't like it because women to women, a relationship is a lack of a relationship, especially during the holidays, it can be seen as failure. So they hate this question. So that also spurs women to kind of lock you down or whatever guy they're seeing to kind of push them towards a relationship. And you don't want to be the guy to just be there, and your purpose is so she can have a better reputation, right? Obviously there's a balance. Some women really like you, but at the same time they really would like for you to um do the things with her that she wants, right? And you always remember you don't owe her anything. If you truly want to go to a pumpkin patch and have a good time with your girl and try apple cider or something, go to apple cider testing, whatever people do, then sure, by all means, go ahead, right? But understand too, like at this time of year, women will kind of push towards those things. And I know it's a little unfair as a guy because, like, you're like, what for us guys, we don't really care about that stuff as much, or about reputation. We loneliness and rejection is our life. So when someone's inability to accept loneliness and rejection becomes our problem, even though we've already fixed that in our own lives, it's a little weird, right? And as a guy, you are allowed to have the holiday sadness, right? It's again, it's a reflective time of year. It's like a birthday, right? Where guys don't like celebrating their birthdays because it's like our report card. Like, hey, we look back and I'm like, what did I achieve this year? I'm just getting older. Did I make more money? Did Where are my friends? Like, I had a lot more friends last year. Now my friends are canceling or whatever, and that's how men feel. Same thing. The holidays are the report card for women because they look at it like, hey, I thought that I was gonna have a guy by now, and I could settle down, and I could have a a dude um to do things with, and they don't, and that causes a lot of sadness and loneliness. So a lot of emotions around, right? Just be ready for those because women do, no matter how bitchy or confident or whatever women may seem, they still have to every day see these couples. They have to look on Instagram, women's addiction to social media. They will see the couples in front of the Christmas tree. They will see them in sweaters having pumpkin spice lattes and being super attached and having fun. That affects women, right? And um, it takes a woman that's a very special woman for them not to care about those things. So yeah. Um, the media has to say like at this time of year the Christmas movies come in. And an interesting thing about the Christmas movies is that um it's a very it's not very realistic. Obviously, they're very, contrived and kind of the the memes about Christmas movies are kind of funny because it's usually a boss girl, city girl, babe that comes to a smaller town or small town where she's from, and she learns the meaning of Christmas. Some guy who's a lumberjack, who's not a corporate guy, comes in and kind of makes her fall in love. She forgets about her boyfriend, her narcissistic boyfriend in the city, right? And all of a sudden now she finds the meaning of Christmas and she stays with the small town guy, right? And she learns the meaning of, she shifts from being this very materialistic, career-oriented women to being a more understanding, like, family values and caring for others and being less selfish. And I'm like, yeah, that's I've never seen that happen in the average woman, and that's what happens during the holidays too. It's very it's very parallel to the holidays where women spend the whole year worried about parties, festivals, getting out there, traveling, the nice things in life that single women enjoy. And then they get to the holidays and they realize, like, I'm lonely. Where are all my friends? Like the girls I party with, where uh, I feel alone. So yeah. Um. So the fast track phenomenon. So we already explained what it means to fast track relationships. It's essentially, like, things that would take before weeks for you to get to that point. She wants to push you to get faster, to do it faster, right? Um. You know, I think ways that you could see that you can see the fast track phenomenon, or way it's manifested, is like rushing to define a relationship like within 3 weeks. It's like, hey, like, what are we? You know, meeting families quickly or expecting grand gestures, right? So, like, if her friends took her, if her friends had a Thanksgiving with her boyfriend or her new guy too, she will want you. The grand gestures and all that stuff. And as a guy, right? Um, it's difficult for us because we want our life is lonely, like, not loneliness, I would say, but like our life is rejection and lowered expectations for women, right? So you get with a girl and we go from being, like, kind of like the fun guy or the guy that just, women pass up or something, to, hey, give me the moon and the stars. And that's a tough transition for a guy, and it's women's job to make you want to do that and never forget that. um, if you feel rushed, if you feel like, "Hey, slow down, like, I just met you, like, I can meet your parents whenever," um, that's a good way. I mean, vetting is not a good strategy, but that's a good way to see her intentions with you, right? Because if she truly liked you, she'd be like, "I understand. I would like you to come to Thanksgiving dinner, but I understand how this is being rushed," right? But if she doesn't see your side of it, like, "Hey, I just met you, I like you, but, you have to give me space. You have to let me enjoy this pace, a better pace. If not, I'm going to feel like you don't even like me for me, that I'm just a placeholder boyfriend." Yeah. So, yeah. All right. So let me say hi to a couple people. Who we got here? We got Zane. How you doing? Bill. Julian. How you doing, sir? We got Jack Napier, Matthew W. Hello, sir. We got Danger. Thank you. Godspeed. Grim Villain. What's going on? Um, we got Poofy. How you doing? This is the time to watch A Walk in the Clouds, Vomit. Um, Gene Simon, what's up, my friend? Michael Priest, nice to see you. X Runner, nice to see you too. I met a girl at a Halloween party, went to her parents for Thanksgiving, and fell apart before Christmas. Yeah. That means she just never wanted a relationship. She just wanted the comfort and the status of having a holiday boyfriend, right? Women don't really want to be in relationships as much as they say they do, right? To them, it's an afterthought, it's a whatever thing. So, yeah. Um, All right, let's take a quick break and we'll move on to the next point. chat from our member, Dark Knight Dev. Thanks for becoming a member, man. I forgot you were a member. My bad. Um, no, conmigo son pernil, mi hermano. Fuck. Yeah, I had friends. I hosted Friendsgiving yesterday, and I didn't make pernil. I made arroz con gandules, sort of. I made the turkey. I made a whole bunch of stuff. But I didn't have time to make pernil. I just had too much things to do. So, um, yeah, I cook better than every tried wife. I always said it. Like I was busting my ass in the kitchen yesterday, and I made a whole bunch of things. So, um, yeah. So, uh, all right. So moving on. Let's move along here. The challenges for that we meet as guys in these situations. Uh, it's like I was saying, the difficulty of aligning with accelerated emotional timelines. Like it's as a guy, I remember as a guy, we're used to like being alone, or we're just not constantly being bombarded by offers for relationships or monogamy or emotional investment. Usually, most women will just want to hook up with you, um, and most women don't really want relationships. So to go from that to having emotionally calibrating yourself to being with women that could leave at any moment, not really emotionally invested that much. Women that are hot and cold, they'll show up for a week and then disappear for two. It's hard to go from that as a guy to being completely, start being emotionally invested in a woman. So it takes time. It takes time um, for uh, for you to switch modes emotionally as a guy, and it's not gonna happen in weeks. It could take a couple months because you need more proof. And I don't like a lot of people say, "Oh, that's a trauma thing." No, it's not trauma. It's that you adapted to the dating market. That's not your fault. You're doing the intelligent thing, and you're saying, "Hey, most women don't want to be in relationships. Most women are out here having fun, partying, and all that stuff. So I will act accordingly. I will be the smart thing, take my ego out of it, and I will do what I'm supposed to do. I'm gonna get my needs met, and possibly leave the door open for a girl that's interested." And then all of a sudden, the same girls that were just in and out of my life whenever now are just like, "Hey, pumpkin patch this Thursday. You should go." Pumpkin patch isn't a hot, sexy date. It's a girlfriend, boyfriend comfort date, you know? So that's like weird to a guy. It's like, wait a minute, like this whole year you were like in and out of my life, and girls like you were in and out of my life, and now you're just like, hey, hurry up. And that's a hard thing for a guy to switch gears on, right? So yeah, like, and they could be an indicator, like Mad Monk says, if she's pressuring you and not going along at your pace, she doesn't really like you. Ulterior motives. Yeah, it's an indicator. Obviously, if she likes you, that doesn't mean that she won't ask you to do those things, right? But she will. If a woman likes you, she'll respect your pace. But also, guys, like you have to be kind of like you can communicate. You can tell her, hey, we're going like let's just slow down. I like you. Let's just enjoy this part. Like let me come to it, it's in a certain way where I can um enjoy you and not feel pressured, right? And she'll understand, she'll back off, right? But if she's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, and she expresses frustration with you, then it was never about you. It was about her image and her status among friends and family, and the pressure she has to deal with in this time of year. Um, so obviously, there's the fear of commitment, and you should have a fear of commitment. Um, but also versus not wanting to disappoint, right? As guys, we're human beings and we don't want to let people down. That's just part of our programming. We meet people and people that we like, and we feel like, hey, we don't want to let people down. We want to be forthcoming and honest, all that stuff. Remember, you need to put yourself first always. And sometimes that most of the time that will involve disappointing others. Um, and if you don't do that, you're just gonna be miserable, and it's not a good look. It's you have a miserable life, right? So think to yourself, is this what I want? Yes, but is it? Why am I being rushed? Why do I not want to do these things with this girl, right? Why do I want to instead of hanging out doing things, do I want to stay home and relax? Am I burnt out, right? And if you are burnt out and like the girl, "Hey, can you I really don't wanna do anything this weekend. Can you come over? We'll watch a Christmas movie. I'm just tired." Right? And I'm not saying you should shit test women like this, right? But those are good indicators that a woman just cares more about you and spending time with you than she does looking like taking an Instagram picture in front of a Christmas tree at a mall or something, or ice skating or something, right? So, yeah, the pressure she's dealing with is not your problem. Yeah, and, I'm probably gonna tweet that, like, "Hey, the holiday pressure that women, put you under, that accelerated timeline for a relationship is not your problem," right? It'll feel like it's your problem, but you're just like, "Hey, like, no, I'm not going to Thanksgiving, sorry. It is what it is." So, um, another pressure you'll meet, like, during this time is, like, a lot of people have big, significant family traditions, right? So let's say, like, you like the girl, and then like, "Hey, let's go to Thanksgiving," and they say, like, during Thanksgiving, we do this, like, super 1 mile by 1 mile square mile Easter egg hunt, or we play, like, 20 games, or we do all this stuff, and that sounds exhausting to you. Be like, "Hey, like, I don't know you that well, I don't know I don't know your family, like, this will be a lot for me, and I'm tired, I had a rough week. Can I see you the day before, or can we do something?" Right? So, take into consideration these things when you're dating women, because if you keep putting yourself in these situations, you're just gonna be unhappy and frustrated. Um, so, take into account, ask these questions like, what does your family do? If it's just like you sit down and eat and all that stuff, sure. But like if it's like these, full day activity things, and you're just like, geez, I just want to meet your parents and your family and then eat, have a quick conversation and go home. Make sure you communicate that. This is a good time to be communicative and open and straight and assertive with your girl, right? Um, yeah. So obviously, things you can do, like segueing into, you set boundaries. You communicate personal timelines for relationships. Like, hey, no, you use your assertive bill of rights. So if I don't want to go to Thanksgiving, you have a right to change your mind. If you plan to go on Thanksgiving, then you change your mind, then you absolutely can change your mind. Like that's your thing. Um, right? It's gonna disappoint her. It's gonna piss her off, right? But deep down, you know, you are the most important person in your life, and your contentment, happiness, and mental health is the most important thing. 'Cause no one else is gonna care about it but you. So knowing this, be ready to disappoint girls. And that's just the life of a man, is disappointing women. So yeah. Um Recognize when the pace feels overwhelming. So when you are dating and you are out there trying to figure out, hey, is this too much for me? Think about this, like, uh, would I do this if would I go at this pace if it was the summer, if it was spring, right? Are the holidays affecting? Do I feel like I'm going too fast because it's the holidays, or does she truly like me? If this was a summer, would it be this much of a rush? Right? Is she acknowledging that it's fast as well? It's like, hey, if she's saying, "Hey, I know we just met, but Thanksgiving is next week. Would you like to meet my family? I really like you." Or, whatever. That at least is saying, "Hey, I get it. I get it. I understand." And her giving you that, like, hey, if it's too much, it's fine, right? That shows a sign of consideration. That shows like, hey, I care about this guy enough that I don't want to lose him, and I know that if I push him too hard, I'll lose him. So things to look out for, and realize that, you know, if you're dreading the day you have to go meet your girlfriend's parent or your girl's parents, or you're like you just don't want to do these kind of things, like it's not within you, you hate it, it feels weird and cringy, then deep down, you just probably don't want to be with this girl. You think you do because you don't want to let a person down, but deep down you're just like, hey, I don't want to be with this girl that much. And it's all about revealed preferences versus stated preference. And a lot of guys themselves, they'll be like, I want a relationship. And then they get into these like accelerated holiday timelines, and they're like, "Yeah, finally, a girl that likes me, wants to be with me and spend the holidays with me." And then they realize like, "God, but can she back off? Can she chill? Like, it's just too fast." And then you realize like, I really didn't want maybe I just wanted to get laid or something. So, oh, yeah, Glenn. Listen, all you gotta do is go over to her parents' house for Thanksgiving and tell her mom those breasts look amazing on that bird, but your rec looks good too now. I know where your daughter gets it. Nice. Glenn, I see your strategy. Um, but you don't want to cause a scene at the holiday table. You gotta be careful with that one. Boom, exactly. If you can't look her father in the eye, then you already know. Yeah. Um, so uh so yeah, and then obviously holiday spirit. I'm not a big holiday guy, but I understand that, the holidays for whatever force affect people, and that gets them into this kind of like giving benevolent mood and kind of mode of operating. And you will see her as through the lens of like Christmas and Thanksgiving, and that will influence your decision and the pace of which you go through a relationship, how fast. So just realize that that's the thing that's happening in the background. You saw like the Grinch, and you see Christmas movies and you see other couples and you see how like happy it makes you to see other couples being happy, and you're just like, oh, like I don't mind in 2 weeks meeting her parents. That's not a big deal. So just realize like that's the thing, and that is influencing your decision. So um yeah. Uh so essentially you have your values, you have your pace. Stay stay loyal to your you know hold your frame, like realize that you are human. You're going to be affected by the holidays, and that's going to affect how you see relationships this time of year. And realize, yeah, it's nice to have someone give a shit about you, and it's nice to have regular sex and all that. But there's a lot of things at play that will influence your decision, and just as long as you recognize those, then it will help you kind of make take a look at the whole picture and realize, like, hey, this girl doesn't really like me that much, or like, hey, this girl likes me, but she's struggling with um her her image in front of her parents, and she doesn't want to scare me away, so she's trying to balance it as best she can. And that's what you want, right? Like, it's natural for girls to want to show you off to her friends and family, to want to do like this kind of girlfriend boyfriend stuff, but at the same time make sure that she's considerate, and make sure that you let her know, hey, be considerate of me. This is we're going too fast. You don't want to be just a placeholder boyfriend there, just to hang out. That's not fun. There's other girls to have fun with if that's the case, and you don't need to do that. Um, and just make sure, like I was saying before, acknowledge that meaningful connection shouldn't be rushed, even during festive times. Like, it's business as usual, right? Like, yes, there's other things at play, but hey, if you're not ready, you're not ready, and that's it. And there's really nothing much beyond that. Obviously, women, if she's smart, she'll sweeten the deal, be like, okay, well, cool, like, whatever. But if the door is open, if you want to go, right? I don't mind either way, and all that. So yeah, um, that's basically the pressures you'll feel for the holidays. So yeah. Um, what else did I have? If does anyone have any questions or anything? Any super chats you want to leave? The seasons are rough if the other person doesn't have a good connection with family. Yeah, yeah, there's another that's another thing too, that she may see that you're a lonelier guy, like, a lot of guys don't really we kinda accept loneliness as an operative trait for men, um, and she may see like, "Wow, he does he have anyone?" It's like they couldn't imagine themselves not having anyone for the holidays, like friends or family, so they take it upon themselves to try to show you the meaning of Christmas or the holidays or family. So, like, don't always take it as, like, malicious, right? She could very well just want to be a good person and doesn't want you to be felt left out, right? Women are emotional creatures again, and yes, there is the possibility that she's just trying to look up for a friend in front of her friends, but also it could mean, um, that she's starting to care for you and she has a lot of compassion for you and um she doesn't wanna see you, lonely or depressed or something, even though you're probably fine, so I'm interested in hearing everyone's Christmas traditions and rituals. You too, Nick. I don't have any. I don't celebrate Christmas. I really don't. Um, so, uh, on Christmas 2 years ago, what's 2 years ago, I would say, I was, I was seeing Violin Girl. I don't know if you guys know the story of Violin Girl, right? And me and her started hooking up around late November, I think. And she was one of those girls where, she was very competent, Vietnamese girl. She had a culinary arts degree, but also she had a violin degree. She was a violin teacher and started her own orchestra, like, just a high performing girl, but very humble and, kind of a band geek, right? Um, and we hit it off pretty well. And uh, on the day before Christmas, she shows up to my house with boxes of gifts, right? Um, so I'm like, "Oh, wow." And I got, like, let me see, I got a rice cooker, I got an electric salt shaker, an electric pepper shaker, I got a cocktail recipe book, I got a little Super Nintendo ornament somewhere, I think it's hanging on my tree now. Um, and I also got what else? I got something else, I forgot. Oh, the salt and the pepper for the shakers too, I got that. So, man, like, maybe 150, $200 worth of gifts, right? Um And I've never gotten that many gifts for Christmas, and I never had, like, a woman bring me gifts for Christmas ever. That was my first time, so I'm not saying I got super emotional, but I was like, "Whoa, like, this is so much," and I hadn't given her anything. I'm like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I did," she had stated she didn't wanna be in a relationship or she just trying to figure herself out, so, like, okay, so I didn't try to, like, overstep the boundary by giving her gifts or something like that. But then the next day, I told her she's like, "Oh, you should open them." I'm like, "Hey, can't you open the can I said, "Can't we open them tomorrow so it's actually officially Christmas?" She's like, okay." So she comes on Christmas Day. It's a little selfish for me, but she comes, with me the next day or comes over the next day, and obviously I try to I made her hot chocolate, whatever, and she sees me open everything, and she's happy that I'm happy, and Uh, about 2 days no, 3 days later, she calls me and she says, "I don't wanna see you anymore." Right? Like, it's, "Hey, I'm done. Like, I don't see I'm done with you. Like, I don't wanna see you anymore." And as a guy, that's why I always say, uh, like, you can't like, go through life thinking that everyone wants to be in a relationship with you, even if they show you you do, right? It's not until they ask you, like, "Hey, what are we?" Can you be like, "Okay, cool. Now she's actually showing investment. Now I have the opportunity to opt in or opt out." But for the most part, she was done. Yeah, I got all these gifts and I'm like, "Okay, cool." But she was done with me, right? Um, it was the strangest Christmas ever. I mean, obviously I had another chick I was seeing, but it was just a very strange kind of dynamic there that I didn't understand well, and I was like, "Okay, well, this makes no sense." But yeah, just a Christmas story. But yeah. Um, oof, that was Halloween Girl. Halloween Girl? Halloween Girl, Halloween who was Halloween Girl? Yeah, Christmas gift. Yeah, I gave her a Christmas gift as well. So, um, but yeah, that's a Christmas story. I guess it's relevant to the to the topic, I guess. Um, let's see. Um, yeah, and that's pretty much all I have on this topic, guys. Like, just be careful and watch out for these things, for these incentives women have, and take it. Pump the brakes if you have to. But also take into account too that she may actually like you, but she also is wrestling with the fact that she just wants you in her life, and women aren't really trying to masterminds to destroy your life, right? They're just trying to figure this thing out like you do. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you later, and you guys have a good night.